So today's video is about something really serious that's affecting people my age. I'm more or less 25-ish years old in the ballpark, and there's an epidemic among my generation called pregnancy. Everyone is suddenly pregnant. So what I want to talk about today is baby names. Naming a baby is much harder than what I thought it was. When I got Winston, I just copied the name of our neighbor's dog. I suppose it's not really the same thing, is it, with babies? So there seem to be about 5 different strategies you can use when you name your babies. The first strategy, and this seems to be sort of the go-to strategy, especially for new parents, the first child they have, and that is to name the baby after someone in your family. The first child's name is like really significant, especially if you're in the royal family. So if you decide to name your child after someone in the family, you have a few choices. The first choice is to name the baby after yourself. How selfish are you? You know, I mean, you couldn't even give the baby its own name. The other thing about babies named after their parents is, you know, it's confusing. The baby almost always ends up going by its middle name. If you decide you don't want to name the baby after yourself and instead you want to name it after someone else in the family, you know, that's a good idea. It's not the most creative, and you're not giving your kid a very creative start to life. So if you're okay with your baby becoming something boring like, you know, an accountant or like a contract lawyer, then go for it. The second strategy that people are using now seems to be just look around you and whatever you see, pick it up, and that's your baby's name. Puzzle, marble, vodka, dragon, pillow, crystal, chopstick. So another thing I've heard a lot is people who give their kids a name of something spelled backwards, which is a little strange, but it could work if you want to give your kids, you know, a strong name. Like Treya is heart spelled backwards, or Amabo is Obama spelled backwards. The problem with this strategy is if everyone starts doing this, then when you meet people, you're not going to be sure if their name is supposed to be something spelled backward or if that's just their name. For example, if your name is Pam, people are going to be like, are you Pam or are you Map? Or if your name is Natasha, it's like, did your parents name you Satan? So the fourth strategy is something that a lot of people who are like teachers or coaches or a job where you work, you know, with kids a lot use, and that is the process of elimination. If you're a teacher, and especially if your partner is also a teacher, then there are going to be certain names that you hate because you knew a child that was named that, and so you can't name your own child after that name because number one, it gives you bad feelings, and number two, you know, what if it's the name that made the kid act that way? I can relate to this one because I am a teacher, and for example, I had a student in my class, his name was Sebastian. Sebastian, I'm sure you turned out to be a very nice person, but you were a pain. Sebastian makes me feel annoyed on the inside. Luckily, now I live in Spain and I teach here, and all my kids, well, 90% of my kids are named Jose or Juan. Okay, the last strategy is to choose a name from the opposite gender for your child. This one can be really cool, but it's a roll of the dice. If you have a child that's a boy and you name it Kelly, you better pray that he's going to be good at sports, because if not, he is going to have a rough, like, 17 years. So if there's anything that we've learned from these 5 naming strategies, it's basically that your kids are screwed. That could be a new thing. You could name your kid after you, but you spelled backwards. So, you know, then the kid, it's not really after you, but secretly inside, you know it is after you. Unless your name is like Naomi, because then your kid's name is Imone.